3, 2, 1.
من هو سلمان الأنصاري؟ أهو من الأنصار؟
وفي إطار الأزمة الخليجية أيضا تدور علامات استفهام كثيرة حول اللوبي السعودي في أمريكا ودوره. نتابع معلومات عن دوره في الترويج لمعلومات غير صحيحة عن قطر
سلمان أنصاري، وسلمان الأنصاري هذا
على تويتر
نصا بخصوص إلى أمير قطر، نص التويتر منشور على حسابه الرسمي إلى أمير قطر بخصوص اصطفافكم مع حكومة إيران المتطرفة وإساءتكم لخادم الحرمين، فأود تذكيركم أن محمد مرسي فعل نفس الشيء.
Thank you guys for this beautiful panel. This is Salman Al-Ansari and I'm from Saudi Arabia, a writer and political commentator. So I think I'm just going to speak about like the perspective of Saudi Arabia, or like the mainstream in Saudi Arabia regarding this deal. We are definitely in support of any deal that would eliminate Iran from having a nuclear weapon. But at the same time, we'd go back to the Margaret point, which is we totally believe that the United States and the international community is focusing a lot and putting a lot of focus on the nuclear deal without putting enough focus on the support of the militias in the region. For example, Hezbollah and IRGC and what they do in different countries, and also in Houthis, with the Houthis in Yemen. And I think one of the main things that we need to identify is the principle. The issue we have as in Saudi Arabia and the GCC country is an issue of principle with the United States. We are definitely a very strong ally, but at the same time, we have seen the United States to be diverting from its stance by not taking care or crucial steps to eradicate extremism within the Middle East that has been fueled by the militias of Iran. So this is one of the things that I think need to be highly highlighted, if that's correct. So, and at the same time, one of the things that we would love to see from the United States to take back its leadership stance. This is something very crucial, and I think Obama has definitely, for my point of view, has succeeded in so many domestic affairs, but in international affairs he has not done enough at all, because we have seen how Iraq has been handed to the Iranian in a silver plate, and that's in itself is very troublesome for the whole region. So we would love to see the United States to be taking back its leadership stance and to be strategic when it comes.
للأسف الشديد مسؤوليها وعلى رأس مسؤوليها في قطر يتحدثون بلغة تلفيقية، يعني حتى الإعلام المفروض، يعني إذا كان الإعلام القطري فقط من يتحدث بهذه اللغة، لغة الحصار وما إلى ذلك، سنقول لا بأس لأنه إعلام، ولكن حينما تكون الجهات الرسمية وتتحدث بهذه اللغة فهذه إشكالية كبيرة في فهم المخاطرة التي هم يعيشونها في هذه الفترة. أنا أعتقد بأنه نقطة التي طرحها فيما يتعلق في أنه لن يتم هنالك حوار إلا بعد رفع الحصار، فنحن نقول ما في خلاف، خلاص خلي الموضوع يستمر. وقطر الآن بشكل يومي تخسر مئات الملايين من الدولارات، هنالك إحجام كبير من المستثمرين الأجانب، هنالك مصارف بنكية أوروبية وعالمية تقفل التعامل بالريال القطري. يعني الوقت ليس في صالح قطر نهائيا، وهو كان يحاول أن يصور بأن قطر هي التي يعني في لديها الكومبيتيتيف ايدج أو لديها المقدرة بأنها تصبر وما إلى ذلك. فنحن ما عندنا خلاف، إذا تبغوا توصلون إلى حل فحلكم في الرياض، ليس حلكم في المنظمات الدولية لأنها كلها ضدكم أصلا.
شكرا جزيلا لك سلمان الأنصاري المحلل السياسي.
Where does the financing come from? The Saudis say it's not the state, but they acknowledge it comes from their civil society.
Okay, how do you respond to that, Mr. Al-Ansari?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, here's the thing. These flashy words can get us nowhere. Why? Because the facts say the following. Where does ISIS officially operate? It's in Iraq, Syria, and Libya. Guess what? None of these three countries ever allowed Saudi-funded mosques or madrasas or schools in the past.
That is not correct for Syria. No, it's not correct.
It's completely correct.
This is not correct. As you may recall, before Assad cut off its relations, they opened up the doors to Saudis. They went in, changed the mosque and funded.
Let's listen to Mr. Al-Ansari. Let him finish.
Let's have a civil dialogue. Let's have a civil dialogue where everyone has his time to speak. So what I'm trying to say is, it's very trendy at this time to just basically blame Saudi for terrorist ideology, etc. This is completely nonsense. Let me tell you something.
Nonsense? And you talk about civility?
Let me speak about... don't interrupt me, brother. Don't interrupt me. So what I'm trying to say is, Saudi Arabia has been attacked 30 times in Rio last year, just like here, by ISIS, in Mecca, in Medina, in all those places. So if you go and give any kind of hint that Saudi is on the same page with ISIS and Al-Qaeda, this is absurd, complete absurdity. So nobody can get this if they do their homework and studying the case. So combating terrorism, as I said, is a global responsibility, and the regional parties, specifically the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and Egypt and the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, are trying to go hand by hand.
That the national security of the United States is an extension to global security.
But we talk about that, and you talk about that Iran is a threat to stability in the region. But what we're seeing at the moment with these arms deals is essentially pouring in a lot more weapons into the region. Does that not make the situation here more tense, more difficult, more prone to possibility?
I don't think so, Nick. Why? Because Saudi Arabia is not an expansionistic country. It's not a country that wants to take over land just like what the Iranians are doing. All what Saudi is doing is basically try to protect the region, to protect the Middle East, to protect the GCC nations. It's a trusted ally for the United States, so it has, or it deserves to basically be ready to combat all the terrorism and all the terrorist.
This summit, where the GCC members and GCC presidents have met Obama, I think it proves the fact and the reality that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United States have been and remain partners in stability, security and growth. It's something that no one can underestimate. That's my personal belief when it comes to the historical relationship between the GCC members and the United States. Saudi Arabia and the GCC countries are not seen anymore as only oil exporters. They are actually there to stabilize the region and stabilize the global security and make sure that the global security go line by line with all what sane countries would love to see it. And I believe that the historical relationship will remain and will always be unshakable because of the fact that we are very strategic, not only in terms of economy, but also in terms of geopolitical themes.
No big commitments, Salman, no big changes. Is that what happened here?
Okay, definitely we have to be realistic when it comes to the challenges that are faced here in the Middle East. The Middle East is getting into a huge complexity that can never be explained in one interview. But what I would like to say is there are common interests between the two countries. And when it comes to the Syrian issue, yes, the Saudi Arabia and the GCC countries and most of the countries in the Middle East have been fed up with so many red lines that have been drawn for the Syrian issue, but the President Obama has never been committed to imply what he said that he was going to. So when it comes to the issue, I believe that the main issue in the region is the fact that there is no clear understanding of Middle Eastern affairs by the President Obama, which is something that has been very clear the moment we have seen how Iraq has been handed to Iran in a silver platter. And when we have seen the issue
Let me put that to Chaz then. Hang on, Salman. Washington has become less and less dependent on Saudi for its oil needs. We know that. But the kingdom still has a lot of pull over market prices.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like the mainstream of the public or the political fabric here in Saudi Arabia thinks of the concept of with challenge comes opportunity. So we are really having this challenge to make us rely on other resources that are not related to oil, which is great. And we're going to have the National Transformation Plan to be up in the 25th, just like a couple of days from now. So I think and I believe, yes, we are having a lot of challenges when it comes to our economic atmosphere and the climate of economy here in Saudi, but I believe that with challenge comes opportunity, and we will be relying heavily on privatization. We will be relying heavily on implementing governance policies, and we will be relying a lot on the concept of accountability that has been already spread out among all the ministries, and we have seen how the Deputy Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has been up with the rhythm of modernizing the country and making it more efficient and self-dependent in such a way that reduce the dependency on oil and all the petroleum kind of resources. I'm going to have to stop you there, sir, because I have to take a break at this point. But thank you. Apologies. I've really got to take a very short break at this point. But to both of you, great stuff, good analysis, and we will continue to cover this story clearly.
The Saudi stance in the region regarding how it has become more of a regional player. I don't think it's only a regional player, but a global player because of two things. First of all, the coalition, the Arab coalition that has been managed by the Saudi government to liberate Yemen. It has already successfully liberated more than 80% of the Yemeni lands, and we have already sent back the legitimate government to Aden, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to take a couple of more months until the whole country is fully liberated. And we would like to thank all the governments that are actually at support of this coalition, including definitely the Turkish government.
Salman,
and the second step is the coalition.
Salman, if I could move on, you mentioned the price of oil. Some would say that Saudi Arabia has deliberately kept the price of oil at the low levels that we've been seeing over the last 2 years in order to increase its own market share and weaken its competitors. What would your reaction to that be?
I think it's very false, to be honest. Like, I've heard and I've read a lot of arguments about this specific theme, that Saudi has managed to reduce the price of oil deliberately, etc. But I don't think it has nothing to do with the truth for a specific reason. Is the fact that Saudi has already said to the whole countries that, specifically the non-OPEC countries, that if they going to reduce their production, Saudi will do so. But it's not going to be at the cost of only Saudi to be reducing their production level, and then other countries will fill the gap and take their position. So I think it's merely an issue of supply and demand more than any other thing. So that's number one. But regarding the other Islamic coalition, which I think is very crucial step that the Saudi King Salman has taken, and part of it is the government of Turkey and 34 Muslim countries. And I think Saudi Arabia at the moment, or I can say that it has been using a policy in the past that worked at that time, which I personally call it let's wait and see policy. Let's wait and see policy. But the current policy of Saudi Arabia
أول شيء العراق، المناطق الملتهبة، العراق وسوريا وليبيا اللي هي فيها يعني توغل داعشي بشكل كبير، أوكي؟ هذه الثلاثة دول ولا حكومة واحدة من هذه الثلاثة دول في السابق، لا صدام حسين ولا حافظ الأسد وبشار بعده ولا حتى معمر القذافي كانوا يسمحون، لم يكونوا يسمحون نهائيا بوجود أي مدارس سعودية وأي مساجد يتم بناء من قبل المملكة العربية السعودية. بمعنى أنه خروج الدواعش من هذه المناطق يثبت إثبات كبير بأن السعودية ليس لها فيه أي صلة لا من قريب ولا من بعيد، بل بالعكس. يعني حينما يكون هنالك نوع من المدارس التي تكون مقننة من قبل المملكة العربية السعودية وتكون مراجعة ويكون هنالك أشخاص ثقات فيها، هذا بالعكس يحتوي الشباب ويحاول بقدر الإمكان أن يجعلهم أعضاء فاعلين في مجتمعاتهم. فهذا الكلام تعرفه الأوساط السياسية بشكل جيد، ولكن حينما نتكلم عن الحكومة الموازية اللي هي البارالل جفرمنت المتواجدة في الولايات المتحدة، الحكومة الموازية هي الحكومة التي يتم صياغة مكوناتها من قبل الشركات، ومن قبل شركات التسليح، ومن قبل شركات التأمين، ومن قبل اللوبيات المعادية للمملكة العربية السعودية، ومن قبل وسائل الإعلام بشكل عام.
ضغط على الحكومة الأساسية.
إلى حد ما تم تخييط هذا القانون فيما بطريقة ما تتهم المملكة العربية السعودية في المستقبل لخلال رفع اللوسوس وما إلى ذلك. أنا دائما كنت أقول في تصريحات سابقة وكنت أتعرض لانتقادات بأنه قانون جاستا هو سلاح بلا رصاص، سلاح بلا رصاص، لأنه قانون بمعنى الكلمة، وليس هذا كلامي فقط بل كلام أيضا من وقعوا على تنفيذ هذا القانون في فترة الانتخابات والضيق اللي صار، أنه قانون ساذج صراحة. ليش؟ لأنه يرفع الأميونيتي من كل دول العالم، يرفع الحصانة القضائية على كل دول العالم، وهذا الشيء طبعا مثل ما قال وزير الخارجية السعودي الأستاذ عادل الجبير أنه سيحول العالم إلى قانون الغاب. فأعتقد بأن هذا السلاح بلا رصاص، وهو نوع من التهويل اللي تم. يعني صحيح أنه كان أوباما كان ضد هذا القانون، ولكن هو من مهد له من خلال تجرؤه على منطقة الشرق الأوسط بطريقة غير منطقية، من خلال دعم الحكومة الإيرانية المتطرفة بشكل فج. فأنا أعتقد بأنه فيما يتعلق بقانون جاستا متأكد لدي يقين بأنه سيتم تعديله، وإن لم يتم تعديله فسيتم بطريقة ما تعطيله، لأن هنالك أصلا إجراءات قضائية وموافقات لابد تتم من خلال وزارة الخارجية وما إلى ذلك. فهنالك أيضا يعني كثير من القوانين متواجدة على فكرة في الكونغرس غير مفعلة موجودة، ولكن هنالك عراقيل معينة تضع يعني يتم تعطيل فيها هذا القانون. لكن بشكل عام أعتقد بأنه سيتم تعطيله أو تعديله فيما يخدم المصلحة القضائية العالمية، ليس فقط لأجل السعودية. طبعا كلنا نعرف بأن المملكة العربية السعودية كانت بريئة تماما من أحداث 11 سبتمبر. ال 9/11 Commission Report من 470 صفحة برأ المملكة بشكل كامل. الكونغريشنال ريبورت من 883 صفحة برأ المملكة بشكل كامل. ال 28 صفحة اللي كانوا يتغنون فيها في الإعلام الأمريكي ومن خلال الوسائل الإعلام المعادية للمملكة تتغنى فيها، وأيضا أثبتت إلى حد كبير براءة المملكة، وليس هنالك أي دليل قاطع على ضلوع المملكة في هذا الشيء. فهذا الشيء معروف. وحتى أيضا هنالك تقارير للCIA تتكلم بأنه جماعة أسامة بن لادن والقاعدة كانوا يحاولون بقدر الإمكان أن يؤجلوا العملية أكثر من مرة لكي يجيشوا سعوديين أكثر. فالهدف الرئيسي للقاعدة وقيادات القاعدة اللي للأسف الشديد بعضهم متواجد في إيران بناء على الUS Treasury Department وزارة الخزانة الأمريكية، دائما يحرصون على شق العلاقة السعودية الأمريكية، شق العلاقة السعودية مع المجتمع الدولي، ولكنهم يعني ولله الحمد فشلوا فشل ذريع.